Happy Friday, folks.
I like the way he's holding the face up like he's trying to check to see if he got the spaghetti bolognese. They do it for the day before. You take it out of the wash, like, you go back in, spray some vanish.
Yeah, absolutely. Today, the first of our double bill, we are doing this review here of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022, and then we'll be moving over. Well, we'll be moving over in the next stream to do the Ouija Shark watch along, which we cannot wait for. So make sure to stick around on our page after this here episode. This one will be a short one. Not much to, well, there's some stuff to say about this movie, but we're going to dive right into it. We've seen the release of the 2022 version of You Know What, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And Jay Mack.
Hi, Janice.
Hey, Janice.
Thanks for joining us again on a lovely Friday afternoon for you, I'm assuming. Where did I start? The trailer for this actually made it look pretty decent. And I'll be honest, it started off relatively promising. It looks like a good film. It's well shot. But it's pish. Unfortunately, without putting too fine a point on it. Well, that's my general consensus. I'll explain why once you tell me what you thought of it.
Well, we're going to get into the spoilers towards the end, so like in 15 minutes. So for me, I was like, yes, because there are the Mount Rushmore of horror: Michael Myers, Leatherface, Pinhead, Chucky, Ghostface, all these guys, right?
I think your camera's haunted.
Jason Voorhees, it is. So Jason Voorhees, these are the Mount Rushmore of the horror industry. And if you're going to see a new remake of these, or a rehash, or a re-envisioning, or a sequel, you're always going to go to see it regardless, right? You're just going to. So I was looking forward to seeing this. And then I was like, in fact, I'm actually more looking forward to seeing this when I had seen who the cast were and how the characters were behaving. I was like, they want me to want these guys to die. I'm allowed to enjoy them getting smashed.
That's one thing that I think. I mean, you kind of wonder, were they taking a chance on that? Like, was it a deliberate move to make the kind of main characters so unlikable, or do you think it was trying to aim the market at young kids, which are essentially like that? Really annoying. I mean, this is the first Texas Chainsaw film where I feel like the locals were actually decent people. Like they bump into the sheriff, and he's a decent guy, a bit gruff, but a decent guy. The contractor they've got to help them gentrify their town he's a kind of just a normal guy. He's not a horrible kind of racist, bigot, sexist, misogynistic rapist or anything, which they normally are. So they normally are in the Texas Chainsaw films. So whenever they get to the town that they're going to, it's just like, hey boy, and just kind of leering at girls' bums and stuff like that. So it's a bit, this one's a bit different in that those characters are actually likable and the main ones just aren't.
See, Matthewman says my favorite bit was the hammer knee. We will get to the hammer knee.
We will get to the hammer knee. One thing I would say about this, I mean, this is supposed to be the direct sequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
like Halloween, right?
Oh my god, like Halloween. I mean, it's so original these days. I think this film is an insult to the original. Personally, the tone is completely different. The violence in this is so over the top; it verges on being comic. And like I watched the original this morning, actually, once I dropped the wee boy off at school, and I'm talking about the original, like the proper 1973.
Toby Hopper.
Was it 73, 74?
73.
So I sat down and watched that, and then when I finished it, I felt like I just had a complete assault on my senses. I felt like I'd been abused for like the last half hour of the film. This one, it's just a popcorn film for idiots. And it's not, it hasn't done the original justice, and it tried to do the Jamie Lee Curtis thing, and it just fell flat on its face.
I know. I've been waiting for you.
Why'd you make me big there? Made me big right towards the end of my sentence.
Yeah, for everybody at home watching on listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, J Mac is referring to something that happened on the visual show, which is why you need to go to YouTube, Facebook, and all that cool stuff to check us out, and you'll see what's going on, and that'll make sense. But hey, I thought, okay, usually when something happens in Hollywood, there's always the followed suit, right? You always, oh, it's remakes are in because one movie franchise done a great remake, so it's in now, so we'll all do it, yeah. That's what's happened here. This was
Yeah.
clearly Halloween from Wish, right? Why the
Exactly.
hell? Why the hell would they bring back that character, Sally, 50 years later? She got away, and then what? She comes back all Sarah Connor.
And not just that, they're like, "Oh, she became a ranger." I'm like, "All right, cool." And then when you first meet her, she's slaughtering a pig.
I know.
Cool.
Just to show how well she can use a knife. Obviously not well, but here, by the way, and because based on it's a very short show, I'm not going to hold back much on the spoilers. So if you don't want to hear this, turn away, right? But she had every opportunity.
Viewers go to 0. Oh, it's just us.
Mate, she had every opportunity to shoot Leatherface when he was sitting on that bed, right in his forehead,
Mhm.
and she didn't. Why?
Dramatic effect.
Oh, come on. And then right, they go out they go out into the street and he picks her up with the chainsaw, right? Drills a hole straight through her with a chainsaw, right?
Mhm.
Up in the air and then thrown into the
Yes.
trash. And she's still alive.
Of course, she's still alive. What, mate? That's what the film just totally disrespects the original. I mean, the whole thing that was scary about the original is it seemed like it could be real. You know, the characters were, if like they were mental, but they were still human.
Yeah.
He's full Michael Myers in this as well. He
I
gets
know.
stabbed, shot, drowned,
I
just
know.
keeps coming back.
know.
It's so silly, man. It really it annoyed me. It really got on my nerves. And the fact is, it's never actually the film never seems sure of who the main character's supposed to be. Is it supposed to be the girl who was involved in the school shooting, or is it supposed to be her sister? I don't know, the annoying one that
Melanie.
looks like she protests on other people's behalf all the time.
Aye, it was. They basically just made the most unlikable characters, and we're like, right, we're just going to have a wee bit of fun here, and we're going to slice all these guys up. The character that had Nell Hudson played, she was called Ruth. So she dies at the start, where she kind of gets stabbed as she's trying to escape the crash.
Mhm. She
So
was
she
nice.
says, she
was
was probably the only likable character there, apart from the guy that you think's going to be the badass savior throughout the full movie, and then he just gets snapped up into pieces in the
Yep. Harmony.
start. Harmony. I was like, see, when he got done in, I looked at my wife and we are both like, well, I guess he'll not be saving the day then. I thought he was going to be a bigger part of this.
Yeah, I swear to God, with the stuff people did survive in this film, I'm surprised he didn't show up again at the
I
end.
know.
Head all mashed in. I'll save you.
I know. The thing is, right? So Nell Hudson done an interview where she was like, I really loved reading the script because it was proper Gen Z, right? So like all these characters reflect where we are in life now, and I'm like, hard to disagree with that because most folk are like that. Well, the minority actually.
Yeah, remember
But
what I was saying about
it's all we
most?
see.
Aye, it's basically annoying people, and the world is full of annoying people.
Mhm.
And this isn't just like a thing about getting older. The generation that's following us. I mean, if there's any of you watching, hi, and thanks for listening, but you're a bunch of idiots.
Aye. Aye, and I thought, what?
Uncomfortable.
No, I'm just like, well, I can't really elaborate much on this.
No.
Well, I could, but maybe on a different podcast. So I'm like, here's another thing. So Leatherface, or I don't know, depending on which timeline you're following, we're going to call him what, Bubba in this one, because that's essentially the original. So in this, he's apparently been chilling 50 years, didn't kill anybody, right? But beforehand, when he was with his crazy family, just kill you if he sees you.
Mm-hmm.
So they make him out because he worked in the slaughterhouse and he had a thing for killing people. Now, there's obviously been a lot more to this story. There's a movie called Leatherface on Netflix. Shout out to Sam Coleman, guy who was on this podcast. He played the person that they made you believe was going to be
Yeah.
Leatherface, but it turns out it wasn't. So we've got all the pieces of the puzzle to try and build this story as to who Leatherface is. And then in this, it's like, yeah, he just sat in a wee house in the middle of an empty town for 50 years doing nothing.
Yeah.
Find that kind of hard to believe when in the first one, he was just like, I'm killing everything.
Yeah, it's almost like that woman who ran the orphanage, whoever she was, managed to get through to him in some way.
Yeah.
Then, spoiler alert again, when she dies, he's like, "Oh well, fuck it.
I'll take her face.
I'll just wear her face." So that's a good way to remember her. Remember, I'll just look in the mirror every day.
Wear her dress and everything. That's
The
what they
thing
were
is,
hinting at.
I thought the face, like the mask, the face thing, just looked so fake and plasticky.
Well, let me
Um,
show you something. There's a game that I play often, and you've played it a few times also. And this game's called Dead by Daylight. There's a
mhm.
character in Dead by Daylight called the Clown, right? And he moves and looks exactly the way that it's almost like they've taken the stencil of the clown and made Leatherface like him.
Yeah,
I'm telling
it
you, watch
wouldn't
gameplay
surprise
for
me. The
Mhm,
amount of rip-offs in this film, it wouldn't surprise me. I
mhm.
mean, I say rip-offs. There's a bit like here's Leatherface. It's a clear homage
Yeah.
stroke rip-off of The Shining. Now the thing is,
Mhm.
I don't expect to see an homage to The Shining in a Texas Chainsaw film, so it's not an homage. It's a rip-off.
Yeah, and
Um,
then there's this closet scene as well, where
aye,
she's hiding
yeah.
in the closet, same positioning and everything as the original Halloween. What are you
So,
playing at?
what are you trying to make here? Are you trying to
Uh,
make a sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or are you just trying to shove pop culture down our throats? Because
well,
one thing outrules the other.
yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna bring up sorry, I must have not actually uploaded it, but I'm gonna do it now.
Aye.
So, as always, the Matthew man himself is always on the case where it comes to Photoshop. The guy's phenomenal. He's been on the show many times. He's part of our Jibber Jabber family. Well, I don't actually think. Oh no, did I not save it? So, oh,
You'll get
that's
it. You'll get
gone.
it.
I'm getting
Um,
it as we speak. But
you'll get it.
he,
The thing,
as
the thing that
always.
made
Huh?
me, the thing that made me so happy about that is that it was you this time.
Do you
It
know my
was
wife
your
even
turn.
said that? My
Aye.
wife even said that. She went, haha, that's funny. Usually I always picks on Jordan. I
Aye.
was like, I know.
Cheers, Matthew. Mo.
Well, here is the masterpiece from the Matthew man himself.
Look at the missing
I know.
tooth, man. It's
I know.
perfect. That's perfect.
For
It's like
everybody listening at
it's
home,
like your
huh?
average old firm match.
I know. Chainsaw and everything. For everybody listening at home, do check out Craig Matthewman's work at C Matthewman on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The guy does incredible artwork, and he can work that Photoshop like no one else. We need to send him a couple new faces of us because it seems to be the same ones that
The
end up everywhere.
scary thing is, people looking at that might go, "Wow, he's really done a good job at editing your face." He hasn't. Kev made that face. The only thing he
I know.
changed was the tooth.
I know. That's genuinely my crazy face.
Jesus Christ. So there's there's a bus scene
Mhm.
in this film. Now, bus scenes seem to be a wee bit of a thing recently.
Ever since
With
Jeepers Creepers 2.
Jeepers Creepers 2 and more recently Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten
Uh,
Rings. That had an amazing bus scene.
mm.
This one should have been amazing. This should have been the moment of the film where you just kind of sat back in your chair and enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it. I couldn't get into it. I didn't care about what was going on.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, you didn't know enough about the people on the bus to give a shit what happened to them.
The
Um,
thing is though, I wanted them all done in.
I
I
but
wanted them done in.
the thing here's the bit that really kind of grinds my gears, right?
Hmm.
When they're on the bus, instead of trying to get past them and escape, they all start banging on the windows.
I know, I know.
In
At
a
least one
ghost
even make
town!
it.
In a ghost town! There's nobody there to save you. Who are you banging on the window for? Honestly, man,
I know.
have you seen nobody?
Matthew Min
That was the other
says,
one I was going to mention.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That was a great bus scene. Bob Odenkirk. Shout out.
Kicking ass.
That was a brilliant movie. Loved it.
Brilliant movie, brilliant scene, and shout out to Christopher Lloyd for being awesome in that as well. It wasn't until like towards the end, my wife was like, is that Back to the Future guy? I'm like, aye.
Back to the Future, yeah.
um,
It's the guy for Dennis.
so what was your thoughts on the whole bus scenario?
Again, why? I mean, if he's just hacking folk up, some of you are gonna make it out if he's all just charge him. In fact, why don't you all just charge him anyway? You'll probably knock him over.
They're probably afraid to hurt his feelings.
No, if anything, they were more
Gen
afraid
Z.
to get the. But again, it was just a representation of where we are in today's climate, and I was quite happy to just see them all getting hacked up. I don't know. I always thought as well, all the way through this movie, I was like, see those two sisters? They better know best him. They better know best him. I swear to God. And they seems to be doing it every opportunity that they got, and I was like, they're gonna get away.
I know. Another thing that really kind of bugged me was the whole she's a victim. Now this is the one. Remember what I was saying about them? They're not actually quite sure who the main character is supposed to be. Is it going to be the quiet sister who was in the school shooting, or is it going to be her new wave, mouthy, lippy sister? Right. And it spends too much time on the lippy one, and not enough time on the one that actually maybe have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And then, of course, she has to go over her fear of guns to try and deal with the situation. What an American storyline. She has to she has to realize that guns are the way. Oh, piss off. Everything that happened in the film in sequence just annoyed me more and more. I watched it again today just with fresh eyes to make sure I wasn't just in the wrong frame of mind something the first time I watched it, because that can happen, by the way. That can influence how you feel about a film. If you watch it and you're not in the right mood, you'll come out saying a film is terrible when it isn't. I rewatched The Greatest Showman after
That's a good movie.
After hating it the first time and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's all about your mood. And I started off in a better mood this time and ended up worse. There's something wrong with this film. There's a lot wrong with this film. And
just a bit. Craig Matthewman says, good twist would have been if the sister was the school shooter and was a fucking psycho.
Aye. Again, would it have made the film better? No. Would it have made it worse? No. It'd just be another piece of crap to add to it. It's the film's just a mishmash of crap. And it should be ashamed to bear that name, to be honest with you. I'm saying, like, I've never been a huge fan of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've actually always preferred the remake for 2005. I find it a much more entertaining film, but it's still dark and horrible. Like, it's an uncomfortable film to watch, as is the original. This one, you just don't care. You don't feel.
Yeah.
I didn't feel either way about any of it.
Stephen Thompson, Stegel, texted me because he'd seen it the night before I had seen it, and he said, have you seen it, mate? And I says, no, I'll be watching it tomorrow. And the one thing that he said that made so much sense was it doesn't feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
No. It feels like, what's that? Hatchet, Victor Crowley. That's what this film feels like.
Yeah.
It's just blood and guts, and actually without the humor. There's nothing funny in this film either. It's just blood and guts and brainless silliness and irritating Gen Zers.
Well,
so aye, 10 out of 10. Like, watch it.
You'll be glad to know that a lot of them get done in. I'm gonna just have a wee spoiler here just for the meme purpose.
We all spoiler.
It says we all hated you since the start, and we're glad you're dead. So yeah, that's pretty much echoes everybody's sentiments.
Do you know? I swear to God, I swear to God, though, the film was that bad. I was convinced that bit was going to be a dream sequence.
Ugh.
In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if another one comes out and that is a dream sequence.
Well, not on my watch. Here's one for you as well. Read this out, J Mac.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. Try anything and you're cancelled, bro. All right, so this is when he's came onto the bus and they're just looking at him, filming him, thinking just because they're filming him, he's going to walk away. I did not have Leatherface ending cancel culture on my 22 2022 bingo card. Yeah. I mean, if only that, if only that was real. If only cancel culture getting ruined was real.
Oh, let's
Um,
cancel culture.
Yeah, let's cancel culture. Or is that hypocritical to say that? You don't know. We just don't know what to do anymore. But yeah, we've felt a little taste of the whole cancellation thing, thanks to me. And
I'm sure this episode will be great. I think all the buzzwords we've said in this, RAPE, school shootings.
aye, massacre, killing,
Yeah,
glad you're
this'll be
dead. Aye, I
this'll
think
be a good one.
this one we shouldn't even try and monetize. So no, this was an absolute waste of nearly 3 hours of my life because I watched it twice to make sure it was crap.
I'll say go watch it just for the pure gory kills. They're a bit fun. It's like that moment where the hammer gets hit on that boy's knee and he's like, "Ah!" I kind of like, well, that's him done.
Funnily enough, my wife really winced at that bit. I'm betting if my sister watches it, she'll wince at that bit as well. One thing actually, where I thought the film was promising was at the beginning, the first kill. I was like, that's a brilliant idea. The first kill in the film is an absolute corker. One of the most original kills in one of these types of films that I've seen in a long, long time.
I will like to describe it. The guy puts his hand up, and Leatherface is in the back of the van with the guy, and is like, "Ken, what? Keys that hand," and snaps it back like you're opening the lid of a Smarties tube. You know, the new, not the old lids that used to pop off. The lids now where you've got to put your finger under it and kind of pop it open like a shampoo bottle. Snaps his hand back like a shampoo bottle. And then the bone that's sticking out of his wrist, Leatherface takes that very bone, and you know the old game, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself. He does that except like forcing the bone through his face. Oh, bloody brilliant.
Again, at that point I was like, what? That was original. I loved that.
I was like, this is a sign of things to come. I'm with this.
Aye, nothing like chucking all the eggs in one basket at the beginning of the film and then scrambling the eggs by the end of it. It was. It's sitting on IMDb right now at a solid 4.9. I think it started off at 6.5. It's gradually come down and down and down. I think 4.9 is fair to generous for it. I'd maybe give it a 4.5.
Yeah, it was. I think I gave it about a 4 as well. I'd say I'm not going to count this as a movie in the franchise. Realistically, when I look at the story of Leatherface, this doesn't happen 50 years later. Also, he's 70. How the hell is he kicking about like with a chainsaw and able to swing it about like that? And he's agile. Nah,
it's not like he's Michael Myers where he's still kind of lean and fit looking. He's a big messy a guy. You know, I mean, I'm betting the actor probably had to take quite a few breathers when he was trying to film some of these scenes. He's a big, unhealthy guy.
The actor's like, oh, thanks.
The character of Leatherface should be, but there's at one point, honestly, the a worthless steaming pile of cow dung, figuratively speaking. So there was a one moment where he's chasing the school shooting girl. What's her name, Kevin? I can't even remember the names.
The real essay, Leela.
Lila. He's chasing her, and there's about 5 moments in one shot where he could have caught her. It's just so obvious that he's holding back as well, or she's just not running fast enough. I don't know. It has many flaws. I mean, Kev says watch it. I say don't. We can always disagree.
Well, I'd say just watch it for fun. I would always tell anybody to watch anything, especially if it's apparently the worst thing they've ever seen. Which brings me to our closing segment. We will be live, guys, so please stick around. We'll be live in about 4 or 5 minutes with Ouija Shark that's telepathic or something like that. We're going to do a watch along, so come back in. We'll go live again in the next 5 minutes. If you're listening to this on Spotify or whatever, the next episode that you can watch is going to be that one, or you can listen to it. So make sure to get it up on the TV and watch it. J-Mac's got a countdown timer, so it's going to be fun. We're going to come along, we're going to have a laugh, we're going to enjoy our Friday nights. Thanks again for everybody that's tuned in for this half an hour review of Leatherface.
I think this was more of a massacre than the film.
It was. We just kind of massacred it, right? But hey, there's always next time, and I think they left it open for a sequel as well. So,
yay!
There may be something that we might not want to see again.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre kills, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre ends.
Oh, please don't. Right. So we are for this evening out of time for this very episode, but stick around. We'll see you in 5 minutes for the the Ouija Shark watch along. See you in 5.
See you in 5.